Welcome to Focus Study Room. So today our topic is GST, in which we are going to see about composite supply versus mixed supply. So first of all, we will see what is composite supply, what is mixed supply, what are the rates of GST that will be leviable on the same, and then we shall go through one or two questions of the same. So let's start with composite supply and mixed supply. So see, Section 8 of the CGST Act defines composite supply as two or more supplies naturally bundled in the course of business of supplier. These are naturally bundled, meaning that they are not like naturally in the course of business, they will be sold combined only. They cannot be sold separately owing to the very nature of that supply. Okay, we are not forcing them, like we are not forcefully mixing them to make it as one supply. Sorry. Okay. So Section 8 of the CGST Act defines composite supply as two or more supplies naturally bundled in the course of business of the supplier. Okay. So now the types of supplies that are involved are always taxable supplies. So always remember, we will have taxable supplies in case of this composite supply. Okay, then what will be the price? So there will be a single price or there can be separate price. The only thing that you need to remember is that these two supplies are naturally bundled in the course of business. So ordinarily only they are naturally bundled in the course of normal business, like you cannot sell those supplies separately. Okay, they are naturally combined together. They because of their very nature or their very substance, that they cannot be sold separately. They are supposed to be sold that way in a natural bundle only. So those are called our composite supplies. Now the next question that you might be having is, what is the rate of GST that I will be levying on this composite supplies? So always remember, in composite supply we will have one principal supply and we will have other supporting supplies. So what do you understand by the principal supplies? So the main supply of that particular bundle will be your principal supply. Okay, and the other supplies which are supporting that principal supply and which are naturally bundled with that supply are called your other supplies. So out of these supplies, what you will do is, for checking which rate of GST to be applied, you will check the rate of your principal supply. Okay, and whatever is the rate of your principal supply, that you will be applying on all the supplies, that is on each of the supplies of your bundle you will be applying the rate of your principal supply. Now for example, if you have a supply of AC, and now see, if you just supply the AC, it is not going to work, right? We need to get it installed in order for it to work. So what happens here is, AC is a supply of your goods, that is your principal supply, and installation is a supporting service. So installation is a supply of service that you are getting along with the AC, and this is naturally bundled. Like you cannot sell separately, okay, I'll sell AC and then I'll sell the installation separately. That is naturally not possible, because without installation the AC is not going to work, and without AC you cannot install it. So these are naturally bundled, and your principal supply in this case is your AC and your helping supply is your installation. So whatever rate is applicable on the supply of goods of AC, the same rate you will apply to the services of installation in these particular case. Now your invoice can give separate prices. Okay, see, either you can get a single price invoice or you can get separate prices of AC and separate price of installation, but both will, on both of these supplies you will apply the rate that is applicable on your AC. Another example that we can take is that of transportation and insurance. So whenever you are transporting anything or you are transporting people, along with that you usually get the service of insurance. Why? Because if anything goes wrong in the transport, then the insurance company will indemnify you for the losses. Okay. So that is the reason always with transportation services, usually your insurance services are also accompanied. Now this is again a case of composite supply. Why? Because these two are naturally bundled. Like for transportation to be there and for to have that safety measures, we are having insurance. Now insurance you cannot take without you have any supplies. So these will be your composite supply here. Transportation is your main supply, and that is your principal supply, and insurance are the support services that you are giving along with this transportation. So here the rate applicable for GST will be the rate of transportation. Okay. So again here there could be a single price, a single invoice showing only one price for transportation and insurance, or you can show transportation X amount, insurance Y amount. Now on both of these amounts, the rate of GST that you will be applying is the rate that is applicable on your transportation. Next we move on to mixed supplies. So when two or more supplies which are not naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. Please remember, which are not naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business of the supplier. So if you have anything which you can sell separately, like you can separately provide the supply of those goods or those services, but for some reason you are bundling them together and you are making it as one supply, that is known as your mixed supply. Now in case of mixed supplies, the supplies that could be involved can be taxable supplies or exempt supplies or non-taxable supplies. Remember, in case of composite supplies, we only had taxable supplies, okay? But for mixed supplies, since they are not or naturally bundled in the ordinary course of supply. So you can mix taxable supplies, you can mix exempted supplies, or you can even mix non-taxable supplies. You can create a bundle and you can provide a supply. And always remember, in case of mixed supplies, the price should be single price only. If you are giving the separate prices for each of the items, then in that case, whatever is the separate rate of GST applicable for each of the items will be charged. But if you are providing a mixed supply, then in that case, you should apply a single price, and the now which will be your so now your next question will be that what is the principal supply in this case. So please remember, in case of mixed supply, we do not have anything called principal supply. Okay. Principal supply only comes into picture in case of composite supply. It doesn't apply to your mixed supply. Now, your next question will be, what is the rate of GST that I shall levy for this mixed supply? So, for mixed supply, you have to apply the highest rate out of the supplies which is applicable on all your supplies. Okay, you will apply your highest rate. Now, for example, if there is a combo at theater, so if you are getting popcorn and coke as a combo, now I can sell popcorn separately, I can sell coke separately, I can have separate price for popcorn, I can have separate price for coke. So these are not something which is naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. Okay, in my normal course of business, I can sell popcorn separately, I can sell coke separately, but because of some reason I just want to keep it as a bundle, and I want to sell it as popcorn plus Coke. Now, this is the case of my mixed supply. Now here, whatever is the rate that for applying the rate of GST, what I need to check is I will check popcorn's rate of GST, and I will also check the rate of GST that is applicable on Coke. So for popcorn, let's assume the rate applicable is 10%, and for Coke, let's assume the rate applicable is 15%. So now, between these two, the highest rate applicable is that of Coke, that is 15%. So what I will do is, on this entire supply of popcorn plus Coke, I will be levying 15% GST, that is the highest rate out of the supplies is applicable. Okay. So I am applying the highest rate, that is 15%. Now another example that we have is renting of building and renting of furniture. So now see, I have one building which I am renting, and along with the renting of the building I am also renting the furniture. Now if I want, I can rent the building separately and I can rent the furniture separately. Okay, so this is a case of my mixed supplies. Why? Because each of the supplies are not naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. Now for the rate of GST, I need to check the rate of renting of building, the rate of renting of furniture, and whichever is the highest rate, that I shall be applying on the combined invoice value of both of these services. Okay. So let's revise it from this ICI module also. See this, this is a very nice table given in the ICI module. You can just remember these. Okay, this table will help you to revise it in a very short span of time. See, for composite supply, it consists of two or more supplies which are naturally bundled and in conjunction with each other, one of which is your principal supply, and tax liability shall be the rate of the principal supply. Example, charges supplied along with mobile phones. So without the charger, you will not be able to charge your mobile phone, and your mobile phone will be useless in that case. So that is the reason these two are your naturally bundled supplies. Now the rate will be the rate of principal supply, that is principal supply is your mobile phone. So always remember, for solving the questions of composite supply or mixed supply, in case your supply is composite supply, then you need to identify the principal supply. Okay, and whatever is the principal supply, that rate of GST you will be applying. Now, for mixed supplies, we have that consist of two or more supplies for a single price. They are not naturally bundled, and though they can be supplied independently, but still they are supplied together. Then your tax liability shall be the rate applicable to the supply that attracts highest rate of tax. Example, a gift pack comprising of chocolates, candies, sweets and balloons. So see, these chocolates, candies, sweets, balloons, all of these things are such items which you can sell separately. But you are giving a combined product, that is, you are giving a gift hamper comprising of all these things. Now, for a, for deciding the rate of GST, what you will do is you will check the individual rates that is applicable on your chocolates, on candies, sweets, and balloons, and I'll take the highest rate that is applicable, and I will apply that highest rate to all these supplies. Now remember the tricky part here. In exams, if you are given a question that you are separately given the rates for each of these supplies. So if you are given a single invoice, but in that single invoice, if you are mentioned the price of chocolates, then the price of candies, price of sweets and price of balloons, then in that case, even though these being a mixed supply, since your invoice is stating separately the values of each of these supplies, so in that case you will apply the respective GST rate for each of these supplies. Only if in a single price you are given this mixed supplies, then in that case you will apply the highest rate. Okay, now let's come to this questions. Okay, see these questions. Explain composite supply and mixed supply. This was your this previous year question paper of July 21. This question was asked for 4 marks. Explain the composite supply and mixed supply. If a trader launches a package sale for marriage containing double bed, refrigerator, washing machine, wooden wardrobe at a single rate, he is issuing invoice showing value of each goods separately. Whether this is a case of mixed supply or composite supply, explain. So first we shall explain them what is composite supply and what is mixed supply. So see, they've given the answer. Composite supply comprises of two or more taxable supplies of goods or services or both or any combination thereof, which are naturally bundled and supplied in conjunction with each other in the ordinary course of business, one of which is a principal supply. So we have defined what is composite supply. Now next we shall tell what is a mixed supply. Mixed supply means two or more individual supplies of goods or services or any combination thereof made in conjunction with each other by a taxable person for a single price where such supply does not constitute a composite supply. So in order for a supply to be a mixed supply, one more thing which you need to remember is that it should not be a composite supply, okay, and that supply is given for a single price. Now let's come to our question again. The next question that they are asking is, if a trader launches a package sale for marriage containing double bed, refrigerator, washing machine, wooden wardrobe at a single rate. So see, we are supplying different items which can be sold separately, but these are not bundled in our natural course of business. Okay, so this is not a composite supply. Now next what we are looking at is they are supplied at a single rate. So this is a case of your mixed value, sorry, mixed supply. Now what next they are giving in the question is, he is issuing invoice showing value of each goods separately. So each of the goods is shown separately. Now, okay. So for this answer, we are writing this that the package is not supplied for a single price. Why it is not supplied for a single price? Because we are shown each of the values separately. Okay. So therefore, because each of the items are shown separately, so that is the reason these package will neither constitute a composite supply or nor a mixed supply. And all these items of package will be treated as if they are supplied individually. Okay, so your items such as double bed, okay, these things are not naturally bundled, so these packet will not constitute this. I already told you that this will not constitute your composite supply. Now they have charged a single price, okay, so in that case we can take it as a mixed supply. But again remember, next line that they are giving in the question is that he is issuing invoice showing each value of each goods separately. So since they are showing us separate value for each good, so each of these goods can be taken as a separate supply, and when you are taking each of the goods as a separate supply, then this is neither mixed supply nor composite supply. Okay, and the rate of GST that you will be applying here is the individual rates of all the individual items that are given to you. Now let's see the next question. Okay. Next, we have questions in our ICI module. So let's go to the taste of knowledge section. Okay. So see question number 10 from your ICI module. What they have given. Dum Dum Electronics has sold the following electronic items to Akbar Retail Store. First one is refrigerator 500 liters taxable at 18%, stabilizer for refrigerator taxable at 12%, LED television 42 inches taxable at 12%, split AC 2 tons taxable at 28% and stabilizer for AC taxable at 12%. Now, further they are saying that Dum Dum Electronics has issued a single invoice indicating price of each of the above items separately in the same. So see, we have single invoice and these all are not naturally bundled, so I can say they are mixed supply. But next what they have done is they have given me prices of each of the items separately. So what will I do? Now, Akbar Retail Store has given a single check of 1 lakh for the items as a composite discounted price. So now see, you have to consider these. Though you have given separate prices of each of them, but still you are giving a discounted single price of 1 lakh rupees. So now what do you think? Will this be a mixed supply or a composite supply? So let's come to the answer and conclude. Okay, so as I already told you, since you are given each of the items separate prices for each one of them, so in that case, as we have seen in the previous question also, we will say that this is neither your composite supply nor your mixed supply. Okay, and therefore what we will do is we will apply the individual rates of GST that we were given on the individual prices of these items. See, in the given case, the items supplied by Dum Dum Electronics are not naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. Okay, naturally these are not bundled. I can sell each of these items separately. Therefore, such supply is not a composite supply. So I am ruling out the possibility of composite supply first. Now next what I will do is I will check for mixed supply. Now what they are saying. Further, although Akbar Retail Store has paid a composite discounted price for these goods, Dum Dum Electronics has not charged a single price for the said supply. So remember, see who is your seller, who is your supplier. Your supplier is Dum Dum Electronics. Now, it can be possible that if I am going to some grocery shop and I am purchasing certain things, so what I will do is I will be paying single amount only, right? For whatever items that I have purchased, I'll be paying the total amount, okay? But me paying the total amount is not same as the shopkeeper asking me for a single amount. If the shopkeeper is giving me separate amounts for each of the items involved, then that is not a case of your mixed supply. So here Dum Dum Electronics has not charged a single price for the said supply. Therefore, the said supply is not a mixed supply. Okay, so that is the reason that this is not a mixed supply. Now, in the question, so again you will say that supply of these goods is therefore supply of individual items which were taxable at the respective rates applicable to them. Now, in this question, okay. Suppose instead of this Akbar Retail Store, if they are giving you that Dum Dum Electronics has issued a single invoice of rupees 1 lakh for all the items at a composite discounted price. Okay, you have to ignore this line. Suppose this line is not given, that indicating each price separately, it is not given. Dum Dum Electronics has given one single invoice of 1 lakh rupees and it has not given you any of the single prices of each of these items. Now, in that case, this will be your mixed supply, and now you will find out the highest rate that is applicable amongst these five. So, the highest rate that is applicable is of these split air conditioner at 28%. So, in that case, on the entire value of 1 lakh rupees, you will be applying 28%, considering these as your mixed supply. Now we have next question 11. Mani Karan, a registered supplier of Delhi, has supplied 20,000 packages at 30 rupees each to Makhija gift shop in Punjab. Each package consists of 2 chocolates, 2 fruit juice bottles and a packet of toy balloons. Then we are given the individual rates for each of these supplies and we have to determine the rate of GST applicable in the given case. Okay. So we have to find out what is the rate of GST that you will be applying on these supplies. So first let us check if this is a composite supply. So to check composite supply, what we will check? There should be taxable supplies. Okay, each of these are taxable supplies. The next what we will be checking? Whether they are naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. So, see, chocolates you can sell separately, yes. Fruit juice bottles you can sell separately, yes. Toy balloons you can sell separately, yes. So, naturally, these are not bundled in the ordinary course of business, which means this is not a case of composite supply. Now, next possibility that we will be checking is that of mixed supply. So, see what they have given in the question that this Mani Karan has supplied 20,000 packages at rupees 30 each. Okay. So each package rate is rupees 30. Now let us see if we are given the individual prices of these items. Are we given any individual prices of the items? No, we are given only a single price, which means this is a case of my mixed supply. So what shall I do for mixed supply? How will I find out the rate that is applicable? I will be checking the highest rate. Okay, highest rate amongst these is the rate of the chocolates. So what I will do is I will apply this 18% on 30 rupees as my GST and I will calculate my GST liability. Now let's check the answer. See, as per section 274, mixed supply means two or more individual supplies of each of goods or services or any combination thereof made in conjunction with each other by a taxable person for a single price where such supply does not constitute a composite supply. So the first thing as I told you was to rule out the possibility of composite supply. Then next thing what we are doing is supply of package containing chocolates, fruit juice bottles and a packet of toy balloons is a mixed supply. Okay, as each of these items can be supplied separately and is not dependent on each other. Further, as per section 8b, the mixed supply is treated as a supply of that particular supply which attracts the highest rate of tax. Thus, in the given case, supply of packages is treated as supply of chocolates since it attracts the highest rate of tax and the rate of GST applicable on the package of 6 lakh rupees is 18%. So see, as I told you that this is a case of mixed supply and for mixed supply you are checking the highest rate of tax that is leviable. So here for this particular case the rate of tax leviable is 18% and I have 20,000 packages, each package costing 30 rupees. So what I will be doing is 20,000 into 30 will give me the value of this package, that is 6 lakh rupees, and on the 6 lakh rupees I'll be levying 18% interest, 18% of GST, which comes to be 1 lakh 8,000 rupees. Okay. Now next question. Okay. Okay, this is not related to your discuss leviability. Okay. Okay, so we are done with this composite and mixed supplies. Okay, let's see the other questions. Okay, so let's start from question number 1. Meghraj and Company wishes to commence the business of supplying ready-made garments within Punjab and in the neighboring states of Delhi and Haryana. Kindly state as to what is the taxable event under GST and leviability of CGST, SGST, UTGST and IGST on the same. So see here, Meghraj and Company is wishing to start the business of supplying ready-made goods. Now what they are doing is they want to make this supplies within Punjab and also in the states of Delhi and Haryana. So what is the taxable event? The taxable event here is the supply of these ready-made garments and GST leviability of CGST, SGST, UTGST and IGST. So see, whenever you have interstate supplies, in that case we are applying IGST, and if we have intrastate supplies, that is any supplies within the same state or any supplies within the same union territory, in that case we are levying CGST, SGST or UTGST. So let's see the answer. See, as I explained you, taxable event under GST is the supply of goods or services or both made for consideration in the course or furtherance of business. CGST and SGST will be levied on interstate supplies and IGST will be levied on interstate supplies. Now question number 2. Damodar Private Limited, registered in Delhi, is planning to transfer some goods to its branch registered in West Bengal without any consideration so that the goods can be sold from the branch. The company believes that the transaction will be undertaken by it would not qualify as supply as no consideration is involved. Ascertain whether the transfer of goods by Damodar Private Limited to its branch office would qualify as supply. Now see here, what is happening is this Damodar Private Limited, they are registered in Delhi. Okay. Now what they are doing, they want to transfer some of the goods to its branch which is registered in West Bengal. Now see here, this is the case of distinct persons. So, Damodar Private Limited registered in Delhi and one of its branch is registered in West Bengal. So, in Delhi, Damodar Private Limited would be having one registration. In West Bengal, it is having another registration. But because this is branch of Damodar Private Limited, so the PAN number for both of these registrations would be common, which means these are places of a distinct person. Okay. So whenever there is a supply between distinct person without any consideration, in that case also this is considered as supply. We have already seen this in the previous class. Now what this company is saying that, okay, so if we see for supply, we used to check three things, right? That there should be supply of taxable goods or services, that should be for a consideration, and it should be in the course or furtherance of business. So in this particular case, our two conditions are getting fulfilled. That is, it is a taxable supply of goods and it is a supply of goods and services, and it is in the course or furtherance of business. The only condition that is not getting fulfilled is that of consideration. But again, in further sections we had seen there are certain cases wherein even though if the supply is not involving any consideration, still that will be considered as supply. That was the case of your deemed supply. So here in this case, this is a deemed supply. Why? Because it is between distinct persons, and this will qualify as supply. So see the answer, as you can see, As per Schedule 1, read with Section 7(1)(c), supply of goods or services or both between related persons or between distinct persons as specified in Section 25 when made in the course or furtherance of business is deemed as supply even if made without consideration. Kindly highlight this part. Okay, this is very important for these questions. Now, in the given case, since Damodar Private Limited and its branch located in another state are distinct persons, supply of goods between them would qualify as supply. Okay. Now, coming to the third question. Prithvi Associates is engaged in supply of taxable goods. It inquires from its tax advisor as to whether any activity can be treated as supply even if made without consideration in accordance with the provisions of the GST law. You are required to enumerate such activities if any. So see what we are doing here. This Prithvi Associates is engaged in supply of some taxable goods. Now it is inquiring that if from the tax advisor that if any activity will be treated as supply even if it is made without consideration. Okay. So for these we have certain 3-4 things which we had seen in yesterday's class that will constitute as supply even if given without consideration. Okay. So let's understand what were these things. Now, Section 7(1)(a) stipulates that supply should be for consideration and should be in the course or furtherance of business. So in Section 7(1)(a), we have seen that the conditions necessary for a supply to be supply are: there should be supply of goods or services, it should be for consideration, and it should be in the course or furtherance of business. Now in this case what they are asking is that there is no consideration. So in that case also, will it constitute to supply? If yes, what are the instances? So now Section 7(1)(c) read with Schedule 1 enumerates the cases where an activity is treated as supply even if the same is without consideration. Okay. So even if consideration is not there, still there are certain activities which are considered as supply as per your 7(1)(c) read with Schedule 1. So which are the cases? The first one is permanent transfer or disposal of business assets where input tax credit has been availed on such assets. So these we have seen in the previous class that if you are permanently selling an asset or permanently disposing of a business asset on which ITC has been availed, then even though if this is done without consideration, it will constitute to supply. Then second one we have is supply of goods or services or both between related persons or between distinct persons as specified in Section 25. So your Section 25 defines the related persons and distinct persons. So who are related persons? Who might be related to these your supplier in some or other manner. Okay. Now for company that could be your director, and for other people it could be any of the, like for individuals if you see, it could be any of your this people who are related to you very closely and who are dependent on you. Okay, those people are considered as related persons in case of GST. Now what they are saying in these is that the supply of goods or services are both between related persons or between distinct persons as specified in Section 25 when made in the course or furtherance of business. So now there is one exception in these. Okay. So however, gifts not exceeding rupees 50,000 in value in a financial year by an employer to an employee shall not be treated as supply of goods or services or both. I think this is 5,000. Mhm. Okay. Then what next we have is supply of goods by a principal to his agent, where the agent undertakes to supply such goods on behalf of principal, or by an agent to his principal, where the agent undertakes to receive such goods on behalf of the principal. So in case we have any supply of goods wherein the agent is having that authority to undertake the supply, that is sale and purchase the goods on behalf of the principal in its own name, then in that case also, even if the supplies are without any consideration, still those supplies will constitute supply. Then the last case we have is that of importation of services. So importation of services by a person from a related person or from any of his other establishments outside India in the course or furtherance of business will also constitute a supply. Now let's see the next question. Okay. Next we have is composite supply is treated as supply of that particular goods or services which attracts the highest rate of tax for the purpose of considering tax liability. Examine the validity of these statements. So see, if you remember, in case of composite supply, what we have done is we have considered the rate of the principal supply. Okay, the highest rate of tax comes in case of mixed supply. So now let's see the answer. See, this statement is not correct. For considering tax liability, composite supply is treated as supply of the principal supply. It is the mixed supply that is treated as supply of that particular goods or services which attracts the highest rate of tax. Okay. So in case of mixed supply, we apply the highest rate of tax that is applicable. Okay. And in case of composite supply, we consider the rate of your principal supply as the rate of GST. Now, question number 5. Examine whether the following activities would amount to supply under section 7 read with schedule 1. First one is Suleka manufacturers have a factory in Delhi and a depot in Mumbai. Both these establishments are registered in respective states. Finished goods are sent from factory in Delhi to the Mumbai depot without consideration so that the same can be sold from the depot. So see, what we are doing is we are having a factory in Delhi and we are having a depot in Mumbai. Now these are establishments registered in their respective states. So see, even though they are registered in their respective states, they are establishments of distinct people. So in that case, even though the supply is without any consideration, still this is a case of supply as per your section 7(1)(c). The next we have is Raman is an architect in Chennai. His brother, who is settled in London, is a well-known lawyer. Raman has taken legal advice from him free of cost with regard to his family dispute. Now, the family dispute is not in course or furtherance of business. Okay, and See, brother can be a related person only if the brother is dependent on Raman. Then, would your answer be different if in the above case Raman has taken advice in respect of his business? Yes, the answer will be different in case he is taking this advice for business. Now let's see the answers. Okay. So 5.1a, what it says, Schedule 1 read with section 7.1c inter alia stipulates that supply of goods or services of both between related persons or between distinct persons as specified in section 25 is supply even without consideration provided it is made in the course or furtherance of business. Then further, a person who has obtained more than one registration, whether in one state or union territory or more than one state or union territory, shall in respect of such registration be treated as distinct person. Okay. Then, in view of the same, factory and depot of Suleka manufacturers are distinct persons. So this I told you already that these two are distinct persons. Therefore, the supply of goods from Delhi factory of Suleka manufacturers to Mumbai depot without consideration but in the course or furtherance of business is supply under section 7 read with schedule 1. Now for B, schedule 1 read with section 7.1c inter alia stipulates that import of services by a taxable person from a related person located outside India without consideration is treated as supply if it is provided in the course or furtherance of business. Now, explanation to section 15 inter alia provides that persons shall be deemed to be related persons if they are members of the same family. Okay, and further, as per section 249, family means the spouse and children of that person. And see, spouse and children of the person will always be family, but the parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters of the person, if they are wholly or mainly dependent on the said person. Okay, so in this case what we are given is that Raman is taking this consultation services, legal consultation services from his brother. Now, we are not given that his brother is wholly or dependent on him. So, here this will not be a related person. Okay. See, in the given case, Raman has received free of cost legal services from his brother. However, in view of section 249(2) above, Raman and his brother cannot be considered to be related as Raman's brother is a well-known lawyer and so not wholly or mainly dependent on Raman. Okay. So his brother is a lawyer who is not dependent on Raman. Now, further, Raman has taken legal advice from him in personal matter. Okay. So this is not in the course or furtherance of business. So see, he has taken advice for his personal matter and not in the course or furtherance of business. Then, consequently, services provided by Raman's brother to him would not be treated as supply under section 7 read with schedule 1. So since this service is not from a related person, so you need to check the first three conditions. There should be supply of goods or services. It should be for consideration. It should be in the course or furtherance of business. Now here, in this particular case, your two conditions are not met. It is not for consideration and it is not in the course of furtherance of business. Okay. Now, in the last case, see, now what they had given is that if this, see, check in the question here. See what they have given that. Would your answer be different in the above case if Raman has taken advice in respect of his business unit? Now the only thing that is changing is he is taking this advice for the business unit. But remember again, this Raman and him, they are not related person. Why? Because Raman's brother is not wholly dependent on him. So as per the definition of related person, these two are not related person. Okay. So in this case also, this will not be your supply. See, in the above case, if Raman has taken advice with regard to his business unit, services provided by Raman's brother to him would still not be treated as supply under section 7 read with schedule 1, as although the same are provided in course or furtherance of business but are provided without consideration, and such services has not been received from a related person. So only in case these services were received from a related person without consideration, then they would be treated as supply, not otherwise. Okay. So let's go to the next question. Okay. Question number 6. State whether the following supplies would be treated as supply of goods or supply of services as per schedule 2. Renting of immobile property. So yesterday we had seen that if you are renting, leasing or giving anything on rent, okay, without transferring the actual title, so this is not a case of sale, it is only a case of renting. So these will amount to your supply of services. Then next we have is goods forming part of business assets are transferred or disposed of by or under directions of a person carrying on the business as no longer to form part of these assets. So what you are doing is, there are certain business assets, okay, some goods are there which are part of your business assets. Now these goods you are selling, okay, so this is a case of supply of goods. The next we have is transfer of right in goods without transfer of title. So these we have seen yesterday that if you are transferring any rights in goods without transferring the title, then that amounts to your supply of services. If you are transferring the title in goods, then that will constitute your supply of goods. Now last one we have is transfer of title in goods under an agreement which stipulates that property shall pass at a future date upon payment of full consideration as agreed. So see here what is happening is, you are transferring the title of goods, okay. What they are saying is that this property will pass on at a future date on full payment consideration, okay. So whenever you are transferring the title of goods, in that case it will always be supply of goods. Now seventh question is similar one. They are asking us whether we should be treating them as supply of goods or as supply of services as per your schedule 2. Temporary transfer or permitting use or enjoyment of any intellectual property rights, these will amount to your this supply of services. Why? Because you are making only temporary transfer and you are not permanently transferring it. Then any treatment or process which is applied to another person's goods, this will again be your supply of services, because you are not actually transferring the title of the goods, okay. You are only making some additions to the goods, you are only treating the goods, or you are only applying certain processing on the goods, which is a supply of your services. Then transfer of title in goods. So whenever you have the case of transfer of title in goods, that is always goods. Now let's check the answers. Okay, so for 6, service, goods, service, goods, service, service and goods. Okay. Now question number 8. The goods supplied on higher purchase basis will be treated as supply of services, Examine the validity of this statement. So what happens in hire purchase is, okay, so what you are doing is you are uh, what to say, you are purchasing the goods, okay, and for after some time you will be actually taking the possession of the goods, which is transfer of title is there, okay, and it is at a future date. So what they are saying is the statement is not correct. Supply of goods on hire purchase shall be treated as supply of goods as there is transfer of title at a future date. So on some future date you are going to transfer the title, and the day you are transferring the title, this becomes the supply of goods. And what they have given in question is that this will be treated as supply of services. Now, see, remember, just because you are going to transfer the title in future on payment, that does not make it a supply of service, okay? Why? Because this is not a permanent, this is not a temporary transfer of titles, okay? The transfer of titles is permanent in these case also. So that is the reason this will be a case of supply of goods only and not a supply of services. Okay. Now question number 9. Examine whether the activity of import of service in the following independent cases would amount to supply under section 7. The first one is Miss Srinidhi Kaushik received interior decoration services for her residence. See, this is not in the course or furtherance of business. Located at Bandra, Mumbai from Mr. Rachel of Sydney, Australia. So since we are getting these services from outside India, it is importation of service, and the amount paid for the said service is 5,000 Australian dollar. So see what we are doing is, see, supply under section 7 inter alia includes import of services for a consideration even if it is not in the course or furtherance of business. So these we had seen yesterday that in case of importation of service, whether it is in course or furtherance of business or not, it will still be considered as supply. Now, thus, although the import of service for consideration by Miss Srinidhi Kaushik is not in the course or furtherance of business, as the interior decoration services have been availed in respect of residence, it would still amount to supply. Now, second one. Ms. Srinidhi Kaushik received interior decoration services for her residence located at Bandra, Mumbai from her brother, Mr. Varun, residing in Sydney. Again, this is a case of importation of services. Now, please mark this. What they have given is she has received services from her brother, who is wholly dependent on Miss Srinidhi. So now this brother is a related person, okay, and Miss Srinidhi did not pay any consideration for the said service. So whenever there is an importation of services from a related person without consideration, then in that case also, okay, see, in that case also it would be your supply, but the important thing to note is this is for her residence and not in the course of furtherance of business, okay. So that is the case, this will not be treated as supply. See, schedule 1 inter alia stipulates that import of services by a taxable person from a related person located outside India without consideration is treated as supply only if it is provided in the course or furtherance of business. So in this particular case, it is from a related person, it is without consideration, and it is provided for personal purposes, which is not your course or furtherance of business, because of which we will not consider these as supply. Now they have defined related persons and they have concluded However, Miss Srinidhi has taken interior decoration services for her residence and not in the course or furtherance of business. Consequently, services provided by Miss Srinidhi's brother to her would not be treated as supply under Section 7 read with Schedule 1. Okay, so that's all for today. We shall continue tomorrow. If you want to have these materials also, you are given the links in the description for this YouTube channel. Okay, you can join that group which is given in the description for any doubts or also. Okay, all the links are provided. You can join that link of the WhatsApp group and you can reach out for your doubts, and you can join the WhatsApp channel for receiving further updates. And in case you need to buy these classes, then also you are given a contact number. You can call, you can reach out to those numbers. Okay, and tomorrow we shall continue with another topic. Okay, see you everyone. Good day.